we are getting ready to make some Peach Jalapeño Jam. We have washed, de-seeded, and diced up these jalapenos. And we placed them in our mini food processor, and we're going to turn it into nearly all liquid with small bits of jalapeno all through it. Oh, this is going to be good. And we'll try to take and get these that's up on the side, get them back down in there, and then we'll take it a little farther. And we'll get the lid back on, and here we go again. Well, by golly, I think we made it. I think that's going to work just fine. Now that looks pretty liquidy, soupy, but it's got that chunks of jalapeno in it, and that'll be distributed throughout that jam. It will be good. Okay, we'll add about 3 cups of peaches diced up, and then we're going to add about a cup of jalapeno. That'll make us 4 cups total. And we'll mix around just a little bit. And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of pure lemon juice. And we'll give that a little mix. And we'll add 1 package of Sure Gel Pectin. Now you want your fire to be on medium-high heat, and you want to bring this to a boil. And I add a 1/2 teaspoon of butter, and this will keep the foaming down. You don't have to add it if you don't want to. And you want to keep mixing it while it's trying to boil or coming to a boil, so nothing sticks on the bottom or anything. And the butter eventually melts in here. Okay, it's kind of boiling a little bit, but it's not at a boil where you can't stir down yet. It will be here in a little bit. Okay, it looks like we got a pretty good boil going on, so I think we can add our sugar now. Can't really see it, but you can't stir it down. It keeps going. This is 5½ cups of sugar going into this. Small piece of paper from the sugar sack. And you want to bring this back to a rolling boil that you cannot stir down. Now you want your jars washed and clean, the lids washed and clean, and I set mine in the canner to have them warm while I put this hot product in the jars. They say you don't have to, but I still like to sterilize my jars even though they're washed and cleaned, and the lids. Well, we'll hang our ladle on the side there, get it ready, and we'll get our jars ready to start filling. Now as we fill the jars, we bring it up to a 1/4 inch from the top. Now we'll move it over to the next one. Now these are 1/2 pint and 1/4 pint jars. I like to use the half pint as much as I can, but I didn't have very many of them. I had several of the quarter pint. Now the Sure-Gel pectin has the recipe inside for several jams and jellies. Now I added the jalapeno, but I want the amount, say if it takes 4 cups and I have a cup of jalapeno, I want to leave out 1 cup of peaches and add the cup of jalapeno in its place. Well, we speeded up a little bit to get through this. And one other thing, don't skimp on the sugar. If you do, it won't turn out right. Now that turned out perfect. All the jars we filled were full, and we were out of jam. Now at this point, you can take a debubbler, a plastic fork or something, or spoon or knife, and jab it around down in there to get the air bubbles out. I didn't do it. I didn't see any need myself, and they all turned out really good. And I take a paper towel with vinegar on it and wipe the rims of the jars. The clean rim will help the jars seal. Now we'll add a lid and we'll add a ring to it. And then you want to just snug them down, finger snug. Now after you get all the lids on, take your jar tongs and place them in the canner and bring this back to a good boil. And I let mine boil for 10 minutes because of the altitude I live in. This is something you need to look up in your area to know how long to let it boil for your altitude. I'll leave a link in the description below for the National Center for Home Food Preservation. And they have all the information you need on canning and preserving. Okay, after 10 minutes of processing, turn off the heat. I let them set for about 5 minutes, and then I remove them from the canner and set them on a soft towel on the counter. After they have cooled, you want to press with your finger the center of the lid. If it presses down and springs back up, it did not seal. And you'll want to go ahead and put them in your refrigerator. Now, after I remove them from the canner, I usually let them set undisturbed overnight until the next day, and then I'll mark them and put them in the pantry. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, I hope you consider subscribing.